Hey Kelly, how are you today?
Hi Larry, thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it.
No problem at all. Where we're at?
Well, unbelievably, your tenant has been in the property now for 9 months, and in 3 months' time we've got the lease coming up. So
Gosh, that's been and gone pretty quick, hasn't it?
it has. And so part of the service, we look at each lease as it's coming up for renewal or not, and we do a rental appraisal, and we look at any rental increases or not, as the case may be, and discuss various processes depending on what you decide to do. So,
Okay, well,
yeah.
that's interesting. How's it been? I haven't heard from you much about them, so how's
No.
it gone with the tenants? They've been good?
Very good, and they want to stay, so they have been very consistent with their rental payments. They've kept the place as it should be, to the standard we would expect. There have been no issues, no breaches issued to them, and I think the one little hiccup was that $50 water bill, which as soon as we called them about it, it was paid immediately, so it was just an oversight.
Okay.
So in our opinion, it's he is the type of tenant that we would often issue a renewal to if the owner is in agreement.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm just in front of my computer now. So yeah, we're 3 months in, and if we're going to give him any type of increase, that's 60 days in order to have that up and running and enforceable. So we have a little while to get this sorted, issue the correct notices, etc. So the first stage is looking at what's happening in the area. What are the comparables?
Okay.
What are the properties around? And I know you can't see this, but I'm in front of my computer, and actually there are a lot of comparables. We've got one in your building, and their rent was at $7.50 per week, and then we have two that are right next door. I would say they were slightly inferior to your particular property at Dixon Street there, but certainly there is room here for a rental increase. Have you had any thoughts about what you would like to achieve?
Not really, Kelly, to be honest with you. I don't want to put them in a position where it's just crazy, but we'll just, if we can even just get $10 extra a week, is that, looking at what you can see on the screen, is that doable?
Yes, I think $10 a week is absolutely doable.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to keep them. They sound like they've been pretty good. So, what do we need to do? Anything to the property to increase the rent by $10 a week, or how do we go about getting that?
It's a good question. We definitely identified there were a couple of items that might be advantageous to increase the rent, and that's really around the floor coverings, just updating those eventually, and also some of the blinds in the master bedroom and the smaller bedroom, and potentially also the dining area, just to update those a little. But in terms of a $10 increase, I don't see it as something you would need to do right now in order to get that $10 increase. I would keep that in your back pocket, and we can maybe relook at it again next year, because we would be looking at a greater increase if you were to update those items in the unit. Okay, so I'm going to put an alert in my system here to discuss that with you nearer to the end of the next lease, assuming that this one goes ahead. All right, I'm just ticking off as I go along here. I will just mention that there's pluses and disadvantages of giving rental increases. You can push out a good tenant who feels that maybe they are paying above market rent, or maybe their situation doesn't allow for a rental increase. But in this situation, this is a good tenant. They do want to stay. Your $10 increase is not above market. It's not a huge increase. It's very reasonable and acceptable in a 12-month period. So I don't see there being an issue with accepting this. And what we would obviously do is we issue a notice of rent increase to them, giving them the notification that it's 60 days. before that becomes effective. So there is a little bit of time if there's any negotiating to be had.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I'm assuming you do want him to stay on.
Yeah, I'd like him to stay. We've had no issues there, as you've said, so I would like to keep it that way.
Okay.
And hopefully $10 shouldn't really affect it. So
No,
let's
and
go with that. See
yeah,
what happens.
Absolutely. And if there was some type of pushback on that, and it looked like we weren't going to get the result you want, I would of course contact you and we could discuss it further. I mean, it's certainly in terms of reletting it, if you did move on, you are up for certain costs, which would be another letting fee, potential vacancy period and missed rent, although the unit you've got is highly sought after, so minimal risk, but definitely with the full 1 week's rent in terms of a letting fee. So with a renewal, you're paying half a week's rent, so there's a definite saving there. All right, so
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
And that sounds good. What else is there that I need to know about that?
Other than that, what we will do is I'm going to document the new rent, which is with the $10 increase from current rent, the new due date, send off that notice of rent increase as per the legislation.
Okay.
We're required to get a response from them, and assuming we hear nothing further other than an acceptance, you will know it's all in place.
Okay, sounds good, Kelly. No problem at all. Just keep me updated.
Right. Well, thank you for being so reasonable. I think that's a good outcome to keep those tenants and you to get a slight increase as well. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, thank you again.
Thanks, Kelly. All right then.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye bye.